Welcome back to Nutrapreneur, your go-to podcast for insights into the nutraceutical industry. I'm your host, Bethany. Today, we are thrilled to have Lee Holmes, a pioneer in nutritional wellness and gut health. Lee is the clinical nutritionist and the director of Supercharged Food and the director of Supercharger Gut, where she helps thousands reclaim their health through the power of food. Welcome, Lee. It's so great to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, and first off, I think it'd be great if you could share your story behind the inception of Supercharged Food and what motivated you to focus on food as medicine.
Yeah, I've always been interested in nutrition and food as well. I love food. I'm a big foodie. But about 12 years ago, I was working at the ABC in Sydney, which is kind of like, I guess, the NBC, in America. And I was working in quite a busy job. I was a single mom, and I woke up one day literally unable to get out of bed. I had no idea what was wrong with me. I would wake up with clumps of hair just sitting on the pillow, and my body was covered in hives. I was really itchy. I lost a lot of weight. I started to get really tired, really fatigued, and I had brain fog. And back then, 12 years ago, I had no idea what was happening to me. So I just kept on going into work, as you do as a parent or in holding down a full-time job. And eventually I just couldn't get out of bed anymore. So I went through what I found to be quite a complex medical system. I was kind of shunted from different doctor to different specialists, lots of needles, more clumps of hair, that kind of thing, until eventually I was finally diagnosed with a non-specific autoimmune disease and something called fibromyalgia, which is sort of like an arthritic type condition where you wake up really stiff and achy and you feel like a 90-year-old woman. So from there, the doctors put me on a concoction of different drugs, immunosuppressants, anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, you name it, so many different drugs, about 20 pills every day. And it was difficult at the time because the side effects of the medications were almost worse than the symptoms of the non-specific autoimmune, which I've since been diagnosed as Crohn's disease, actually, and fibromyalgia, but it took 8 years to get a diagnosis. So from there, I spoke to the doctors because I did notice during that time that when I ate certain things, I would flare up. So for example, I was putting I don't know if you have lean cuisine there, but I was putting those already made meals into the microwave for lunch with a lot of preservatives and additives in them. And I would get itchy afterwards. I'd get hives afterwards. And I would be eating, a lot of sort of inflammatory foods and wondering why I was feeling really achy. So I said to the doctors, do you think it has anything to do with my diet? Because I do notice there's a correlation between when I eat things like MSG, I get a really racing heart, I get brain fog. Oh no, nothing to do with diet whatsoever. Just keep on eating the hospital food, which might I add was really bad. It was like 2 pieces of stale white bread, plastic cheese, plastic ham, desserts with every single number under the sun. Anyway, I kind of did a deal with them and said, look, do you mind if I just sort of change my diet and see if that improves my symptoms a little bit? And they said, yeah, definitely, you can try. It's not going to make any difference, but you can try. So I went home after a few months in hospital and started to just cook really simple food. And I felt that that was really easy on my gut. And I really made a correlation between my gut and what I was eating and the nutrition that I was having and all the symptoms. And from there, I started to learn and research more about anti-inflammatory foods and foods that would sort of calm down and benefit my condition. And I learned more about the gut. I went to nutrition school. I studied for 6 years clinical nutrition, and I got really, really interested in it. From there, I wrote my blog, superchargedfood.com, and I started just sharing some of the recipes that I was making in my own kitchen back then. And so many people around the world just resonated with it, with the recipes and loved them. And so from there, I wrote my first book, and now I'm on to book 11. And the business sort of started from there. And I really have such a passion around helping people and around gut health and the links between nutrition and food and common conditions. And yeah, that's kind of how everything was established. And from there, I just a few years ago, I started doing products as well, and formulating products since being a clinical nutritionist.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, I can tell you're very passionate about this and that you have a personal connection to what you're doing, I think also is
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah. Yeah. But the personal connection is really important in your personal story because when you're talking about your story, I feel like other people can really resonate with it, because people would contact me and say, Lee, that was exactly what happened to me. I was put on steroids. I blew up like the Michelin Man. I got really inflamed. My hair was falling out. I was feeling really itchy. I was getting hives. I was really tired. And so you can really make that lovely connection, and you can bond with people over a shared experience.
Yes, absolutely. And what challenges did you face when establishing Supercharger Gut, and how did you overcome those challenges to build a trusted brand?
Yeah, I think along the way, there's been multiple challenges, as there are in many businesses. But I think in the beginning, it was 12 years ago, there weren't that many established and credible sources of information and voices talking about anti-inflammatory style diets and gut health and that kind of thing. And yeah, because I started out 12 years ago, I was kind of at the very forefront of it.
This episode is brought to you by nutrapayments.com. If your business needs credit card processing that fully integrates with most major Nutra software platforms, offers the lowest industry prices, and has built-in features like recurring billing, $0 trials, and chargeback prevention, then visit us at nutrapayments.com for a free online quote.
And so it's just being able to convey that message in a really valuable way for people, and so that they would understand. And it took a bit of time and it took a lot of perseverance, but the more people that I met who had been through certain situations and were really eager and hungry for the recipes and protocols and things like that, it made it a lot easier. And I think I just continued to really provide consistent information for them, and peer research studies, and backed it up with research and things like that. And through my blog, through my books, through all the content that I do on both websites, I try and really educate and empower people to just take it into their own hands and give them sort of actionable, practical advice as well that they can sort of take away with them.
Yes, I think the educational aspect is very important when dealing with food and nutrition and supplements.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, both of your initiatives advocate for clean, healthy eating. So, how do you ensure the integrity and quality of your recommended ingredients and products?
Yeah, that's a big one, actually. The production side and the sourcing side is a really big part of the business. With any ingredient or product that I use, we have a really rigorous vetting process. And we research our manufacturing, our sourcing, where we get everything from. And we like people who are in line with our values as well, and in line with our mission. So we've really got really strict standards around that kind of thing. We're sustainable. We try and be as sustainable as possible. All of our packaging, a lot of it's biodegradable. Some of it's 100% compostable. So we're trying to do things, but also keep within budgets, and so it's affordable for people as well. So we have all of these kind of touch points that we try and do, and we maintain really close relationships with our suppliers and our manufacturers, and we go out and visit our manufacturers and things like that every step of the way. Every batch we do that, just to ensure that everything is pure and in alignment with our sort of mission and our values, for sure.
Yes, those supplier relationships are really important in this industry, and making sure you're overseeing things, since you don't have complete control over that aspect. It's important to stay very involved and communicate constantly with your suppliers.
I agree, because things change, and sources change, and ingredients change, and research changes, and you have to sort of really stay on top of things. I think it's very important to do that.
Yes, it is. And can you explain to us how your Supercharger Gut's flagship product, Love Your Gut, works to enhance digestive health?
Yeah, it's really good. It's a gentle cleanse for the gut. It's a really simple product. We have 20 product lines. This is just one of them. And it's just a single ingredient, which is diatomaceous earth. And it's like a porous, very, very alkalizing mineral food. And what it does is it gently sweeps through your digestive system, and it picks up any impurities, heavy metals, parasites, bad bacteria. and it gently kind of eliminates it from the body. But it's not a laxative. It's just kind of through a process of negative ions, sweeps through and picks up all those particles. So it's very, very gentle, and it's really good for sort of promoting regular bowel movements. It's really good for constipation and diarrhea. So it kind of regulates the bowel as well, and it keeps your metabolism switched on. And there are so many other benefits to it too, because it's over 90% silica. So hair, skin, you'll notice your hair, skin, and nails will really improve when you're taking it as well.
Wow, that's amazing. And I like that it's gentle, because I think that a lot of consumers worry that, they want to support their gut health, but they're worried things might be have the laxative effect or be a little too much on their system at once. So, the way you explained that was really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yes. And there's a lot of evolving science around gut health. So how do you stay ahead with your product development and educational content?
Yeah, well, I do a lot of professional development, and I'm really committed to more education as well. So I do go to a lot of conferences and seminars, and I speak to many, many experts to stay on, in touch with new research that's coming out, trends that are happening, therapeutic approaches, any changes to things like that. Also looking at the peer-reviewed scientific information as well, and staying sort of on top of that is really important as well. A lot of my friends are in a naturopath, nutritionist, dietitians, but I also work with gastroenterologists, I work with microbiologists, I work with immunologists. So I try and stay in touch with a lot of different people in the field of wellness. And that really helps as well. I think just having that, just having that collaboration with other fields, which I think nutrition really does. It is very holistic, and it's so many parts to wellness. It's not just about the food you eat. It's all the different parts to wellness. And I also have quite a strong emphasis on customer feedback and giving them as much information and up-to-date information as possible. So I like to talk with my community and work with my customers as well.
Yes, consumer feedback is often very helpful. And I think with all of those different, doctors and physicians in the various aspects, kind of broadens your scope of knowledge, which can be very beneficial for you as well.
I really think it does. And in the medical field, in the past, I've noticed that they're very siloed. Not every expert will speak to one another. But I feel like our job is to kind of bring a whole team together to help people in numerous ways, because it's just so multi-leveled health, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what role do digital platforms play in your strategy to engage and educate your audience about the benefits of good gut health?
Yeah, so we have two websites, superchargedfood.com and superchargeyourgut.com. So superchargedfood.com is my blog that I started 12 years ago, and there's lots of recipes on there and videos and tutorials and blogs and things like that. So it's kind of like a really comprehensive hub. And then we have the Supercharge Your Gut website, which is about the products. And there's a lot of information and videos and things like that and education about gut health as a whole as well. And there's different systems that the gut actually works with to give you whole sort of body wellness. So we also I've got a free magazine called Microbiome Magazine. So we do free ebooks. We do lots of free magazines. We've got lots of things that give practical tips for people as well. There's also, I mentioned the recipes as well, and recipe videos, which people seem to love as well. And we use our social platforms too, like Instagram, Facebook. We don't really use Twitter that much. We use YouTube for little videos as well, shorts and things like that. And we use TikTok just a little bit as well. But yeah, engaging through social media is a big way of getting our content out there as well. And I find it fun, and it's fun and lighthearted, the approach that we take. And I think I hope that really shines through for people, so that it's warm and engaging, and so people feel comfortable enough to come and ask us questions and things like that.
Yeah, sounds great. And in your experience, what are some of the most profound impacts that improved gut health has on overall wellness?
Oh, there's just so many. The gut is the engine room when you think about it. It's the
Mhm.
key central to so many other body systems and parts of the body. It's the engine room, I think. So the gut is very significant when it comes to the immune system and keeping yourself well and your defenses. So the gut actually has its own immune system and it sits right there in your tummy, and that actually communicates with your brain as well. So you have the gut brain axis, which also can affect things like mood, thoughts, mental health, cognitive function, that kind of thing as well. So not only does it keep you well, it also can affect your mood. If your gut is out of balance, it can really affect your mood. It can affect your weight. It can affect your metabolism as well. And also your gut as well can really, if it's out of balance, you can have skin disruptions. You can have things like eczema, acne. So it's all to do with microbiome and the healthy balance of flora within that microbiome. It's like an ecosystem. So that, when you think about it, is quite amazing, the way that it's so pivotal in so many other parts of the body and systems, I think.
Yes, I think a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize how much of an impact gut health has on everything, your overall well-being. So it's
Yeah.
important to take care of your gut.
Yeah, it really is. And some people, they know that gut health's really important, but they just don't know what steps to take. And
Mhm.
that's where I help them with practical advice and practical ways to actually help.
Yes, it's so important. And
Yeah.
considering the success of Supercharged Food and Supercharger Gut, what future initiatives are you excited about in the coming years?
Well, we always have new things coming up. So we're launching a new gut-friendly range of products soon as well. And we're also looking to diversify within different territories. So we're doing well in Korea at the moment. So we're going to be building on that. I've just been to India. I'd love to sort of help people's guts in other territories like India and the UK. We've just launched in the UK as well with the products and things like that. So that's really fun. And the other big news for me actually is that I've got a book coming out in August. I'll show it to you actually. It's really cute. It's called Nature's Way to Healing, a long COVID guide.
Yeah,
So that's
very exciting.
yeah, and it's all about long COVID. And long COVID is something that I have suffered with 3 times. I've had COVID, and then I've had long COVID 3 times afterwards. But it's getting better each time because I've developed this amazing protocol that actually really, really helps. It's a natural protocol and it's so good. So each time, the time that I've had long COVID, it's lessened. So it's something that I'm so passionate about right now. Millions of people are suffering from long COVID. And it's quite similar to chronic fatigue in a way. You can get so tired with it. You can get brain fog. It can actually bring up old viruses that are stored in the body. So you can, after COVID, you can notice that old things that you've had have come back. It's a very opportunistic kind of virus. So I speak a lot about that, and there's a lot of research in the book, and I've interviewed so many amazing professors, scientists in the field of long COVID, because it's a very misunderstood sort of area of medicine at the moment, and there's a lot of medical gaslighting in it as well. So I'm hoping that this book will really get out there and help a lot of people.
Yes, that's so exciting because that's
Yeah,
true. There are so many people suffering from long COVID, and I
yeah,
know people that I've known, they don't know what to do about it, but they obviously want to feel better.
yeah. And it's difficult because when you're so tired, you're absolutely exhausted and you can't get out of bed. It's really hard to get the motivation to do anything about it as well. So it can be quite a slow process for people, and it's quite alienating. And they feel isolated, and depression and anxiety can set in as well. So there's so many levels to it. It is not just a respiratory problem. It cuts across cardiovascular. It cuts across, there's blood clotting involved. There's so many different elements involved to long COVID. And I'm really hoping that this book makes a difference to people's lives.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think reading that and understanding it could definitely help with someone's quality of life for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And for those that are inspired by your journey, What advice would you give to individuals looking to make a meaningful impact in the nutraceutical and health food industry?
I mean, it's such a wonderful industry to be involved in. It's fun because there's a lot of change in it, and there's a lot of new things, and there's a lot of research coming out, and and the people that you meet, I just think that I've met so many wonderful people in this industry, but it does demand perseverance and dedication, and I believe that it takes 5 years to build a brand. There's not many just overnight successes. It takes so long to build a really solid foundation and credibility in this industry. But I think part of it is really all about maintaining your authenticity and your passion. And sometimes, things waver. Sometimes, when you're snowed at work and there's a lot going on, but trying to stay grounded and being really authentic in your message and what you truly believe in, and coming from a place of helping others. I think for me, that's been one of the biggest things as well. And also cultivating and nurturing and looking after your community and ensuring that, that they have the information that they need so that they can feel better and stronger and brighter and more vivacious. So yeah, I think it's such a good industry to be in.
Yes, I agree. It's all
Yeah.
great advice. Great advice. Well, thank you once again, Lee, for sharing your wisdom and inspiring us with your dedication to health and wellness. We've gained valuable insights because you've truly transformed the landscape of nutritional health with supercharged food and Supercharger Gut. To our listeners, explore more about Lee's work through the links provided in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on today's episode on social media. Join us next time on Nutrapreneur for more exciting discussions. Until then, stay healthy and empowered in your nutritional journey.